Okay, so I'm just going to react to some Reddit stories.
Ida for asking my stepdaughter to ask her biological dad for help with her pregnancy bills. My stepdaughter, Claire 24F, had her wedding last year. We have had a strained relationship since. She never took to me dating her mother. However, I've always supported her in whatever way I could, and considered her as my own daughter. I paid for everything throughout her life, including meeting all of the wedding expenses solo. She never valued that though. Her biological father's been absent from most of her life since she was a newborn, and yet she wanted him to walk her down the aisle. When my son
So that's the thing, right? That's the thing that men seem to ignore or blindly ignore when dating a single mother. I would rather a man go into a relationship with a single mother assuming no relationship with a child, right? Be cordial, be nice, be respectful. But for you to pay for your stepdaughter's, you know, wedding is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is not your job. You're not the father. And obviously, she don't see you as the father. So, here's the thing, right? If you decide to do these overarching gestures, then don't expect nothing. Okay? If he is paying for the wedding, he chose it. And if she said, I'm pretty sure she's gonna go into it like what, wanting her biological father there. Well, so what? You should have no feelings about that because you chose to do that. You shouldn't have, but you chose to do that. Because this is sometimes we think that these kids, right? They really have no obligation to even be attached to you. No obligation to feel anything towards you. Right? As long as they're respectful, that's as good as it will get. Okay, or good as you should hope for. As long as they not cursing you out and making your life hard, that should be as good as you should hope for. But for you to hope that okay, she treats you like you are her dad, you're ridiculous. Okay, and then you're acting, you're doing things like you are her dad. You're a fool, but you will be more of a fool when you expect her to reciprocate that feeling. That's the thing, right? You could you could only control yourself. If you want to do it, right? Pay for things, do whatever, you do it. But do not expect or even hope that they see you as a father, as their father. Don't. Because you're just leading yourself down a line of disappointment.
asked her why she doesn't want me, she said, I want to have my real father, and not someone who's not even related to me. At least mine never used to like a bulldog. This was in reference to an illness I had, after which I suddenly developed a lot of weight, although I was normal after that. I was shocked, but did not argue, and I also did not decline to meet her expenses, as I'd agreed to it. I attended the wedding, and everything was fine after that. Until a few months later, when her husband died in a car crash, and she was pregnant. She required help with money, and turned to me for help. I refused and said, ask your biological dad for this. I am just a bulldog. What can I do? She got mad and said I am holding that over her, but I said nothing doing, and asked her to leave my house. My wife's mad at me for that, and saying that I should be considerate.
See, that's the thing, right? It's just a quick story, right? But that shows you something, right? Why would the wife be mad at you for how you use your money? If I mean, hopefully the wife. This is the thing, right? Men have to understand that when you paint yourself as a doormat for so long, everyone else will expect you to be a doormat. So now everyone else, like that's pretty much the king, right? They all expect him to cave and pay for shit because you painted yourself out as that type of person. So now you make things hard for yourself, right? Because now everyone's like getting mad at you or your wife, saying this and that and that because they thought you would have caved, right? Because you never set the precedent of what type of person you set it. You set what type of person you are, right? By being the doormat before. And now you think that they would think anything differently? I mean, I'm glad he has, a backbone now, but I mean, you should have done it before, right? You should have had a backbone already. But I guess, better late than never. I mean, but he had to suffer emotionally throughout that time, but again, better late than never. All right, let's check out another one.
My girlfriend of 4 years cheated on me continuously while I was studying to give her a better life. Hi everybody, so I wanted an opinion on this. So I had been in a 4-year relationship with someone who I thought was the one. I've been cheated on before, so before I started the relationship with her, I asked her if she really wanted to be in a serious relationship because I had been cheated on before. She said she would never cheat on me and she wanted a serious relationship as well with me. The only issue is that I was her first in everything. So I'd give to feel guilty for that or not. Or that it was a bad idea to be in a serious relationship with this person before she met more people. So this year has been a shitty year.
This is the thing, right? It's not. This is the thing, right? If you talk to the person, and I think people should, right? We should develop better communication skills. Or just be very communicative. Talk a lot. Okay. Talk things through. He asked her if she wanted to be in a serious relationship. Be an adult, okay? If someone asks you if you want to be in a relationship, you have the right to say no, okay? If this is the thing, right? I can never understand people where if you want to experience more men, this is the thing with women, right? If you want to ride the sea carousel, okay, fine. Do it. But why go on this lying journey by saying that okay, you want a serious relationship when you actually want to experience other men? Or find a relationship where you could do those polyamorous relationships, right? Where you could sleep with, where you have, I don't know, sleep with multiple people and still be in a relationship. There's many kinds of relationship nowadays. So this is the thing where it's like, I don't condone this stuff where if you want something, say it. Okay? Don't agree to something that you will regret. How about actually think about things, right? Think it through.
For both of us, but I had been working full-time and taking an IT/cybersecurity program on the side this year so that I can get a better job or a side job to make more money. I told her we probably wouldn't have time as much during July to December because my program required a lot of time. I told her I was doing it for the both of us. I was planning to propose to her in January 2024 so that we can move in together later on in the year. I've been saving up money for both the ring and to be stable enough for us to live together. So September comes and one day she told she was going out with her friends but acted weird during text, and I even had a weird feeling the whole day, but I ignored it. I knew I could trust her. The next day she tells me she wanted to break up and I told her why. And she said she cheated on me and told me the whole story, that she wasn't really with her friends. She went to a party a guy invited her. We broke it off. I didn't even argue and just wished her the best. She kept looking for me after a couple of days, and so me as an idiot fell for her again. But our spark for our love sparked again.
See, that's the thing, right? I've said it plenty of times. We have no right to say anything when we allow it. I've been in relationships where, it just turned terrible, right? Months with no sex, arguing and stuff like that. But I allowed it, okay? If I didn't put my foot down, if I didn't make it known, if I didn't leave, I allowed it to happen to me. So what right do I have to complain about it when I allow it? He said he's been cheated on. He doesn't want it to happen again. She told you she cheated on you. Fine, you guys left. And then you took her back. So you have no right to talk about cheating. To say that, you don't want someone to cheat on you because you literally allow it. Because you took away the consequences of those actions. Okay? So now she sees that, okay, I could cheat on you and I still have you. Just like I said, right? I can give you no sex for months and I still have you. That's the thing that I believe we as men are idiots about, right? And this is the thing where I said, right, where I've said it before, where this is probably we are men, right, average men that understands loneliness, okay, that understands that it is not easy to jump from one woman to the next because it's not easy to get another woman. And this is why I was like that, right, where dating sucks. Okay? Trying to find someone, trying to get to know that person, right? Trying to build something. That is tedious. That sucks. Okay? So, doing that over and over again is very shitty. So, we live in a state of like, and I'm saying that also doing it over again sucks, but even trying to do it, right? Trying to even find a woman to do it with, to start something with, is hard, and that sucks about already. So the beginning is very, very shitty. So a lot of times we men just suffer because what a lot in our minds we think about, okay, why suffer alone? You know, when I might as well just suffer in this relationship, right? Because at least I'm not technically alone. And that's a sad thing with a lot of men, right? It's the scarcity mindset because we think that we're not going to find anybody, so you know we're going to suffer regardless. So might as well suffer with someone. It's a sad thing, right? With a lot of men, with how that is. I don't see that for women because, like I've always said, women can find somebody, even if it's for sex, but they still find someone. For men, for average men to even get sex, they have to pay for that. So they're not going to just get it.
Started going out again and doing couple things like we used to. We even worked on the things she told she wanted me to work on and me for her to work on. Everything seemed fine, but she started lying again to me in small things that didn't involve cheating, so I didn't take it too serious. I just told her to not lie to me again or cheat on me. But I never asked her to be my GF again. So yesterday happens, I was over at her place. We are having an intimate moment, but her mom messages her. When she opens messages, I see a name of a guy I hadn't heard of before. I asked her who's that and she said, oh, it's just a friend. She shows me the messages, suggests everything seems fine, but then I tell her, so nobody has flirted with you or anything ever since? I can see a mile away she was lying to me again when she said no. I checked her phone, nothing on messages, but when I see Snapchat I see a message she sent to someone I knew who had been bothering her to have intimacy with him in the past. The dude has a GF too. The message says, how about I send my pictures here to you, or do you prefer iMessage? I confronted her and she said nothing happened. The message, he didn't even respond. I told her, but the intentions were there to send him noodles and talk dirty. But she said, we aren't even together, you haven't asked me and so I'm single. It's not cheating. We argued and told her I don't want anything with her anymore. It's been 24 hours since that, but now she messaged saying she missed me and that she wants us to be together forever. That the moment I say that I want her as my GF, she will drop it all for me. I'm confused and been struggling with this. What do you all think?
That's the thing, right? That's the thing with some people, especially women, is that you think trust or love or whatever is just given. You don't have to earn it, right? A man's commitment should be just given. You don't have to earn it. A man's loyalty should be just given, but you don't have to earn it. This is a thing where, right, men have to constantly prove themselves, right? Constantly romance you, take you out on dates, constantly doing this, all these things, right? Gentlemen, being chivalrous, trying to woo you, okay? Trying to earn it. But for women, they don't have that same obligation. They don't have to earn your trust. They don't have to earn a relationship with you. It should be just given to them. That's the insanity of it, you know. Yeah. All right, let's try out this one.
She begged me to get back together after cheating. I said yes. Reddit, you might be right. Hi. I, 21 meters, and my GF, 20F, have been together for 1 point.
This is the thing, right? One of the things that got me into, the whole manosphere stuff or men's content, right? And wanting to make content is like stories, Reddit stories, right? Of men. Again, some of them probably are fake, but I believe a good amount of them might be true or probably true. And it's just showing me the struggles of men, right? Like how, like young men are unguided, and they're suffering. And again, when I was young, I've been through these same little things that these other men are talking about, right? And that's one of the things where it was like a wake-up call that sometimes we only think about our sphere of influence, right? The people around us, the people that we come in contact with, whatever. We only think about that. But then we forget that actually the world is bigger than us, right? Bigger than the world, bigger than the sphere of influence around us, right? Let's say if we know like 20, 30 people all married, that 20, 30 people married don't reflect even the US, right? That small sample group doesn't even match the US. Okay, because marriage rates are down. So that don't mean that, okay, even though so many married people, it don't mean that that's a reflection of the world around you. Okay? That may be a reflection of your circle around you, but not the world. And then, so that's why I hear these stories of men to show me that, wow, things are happening, right? Things are happening to men that I don't know or I never thought about.
5 years before we broke up. Our relationship has been rocky and I will straight up say it was due to her. She committed infidelity and would generally lie on top of it. Well, after she begged to get back together, I finally agreed because I still love her.
See, that's the thing, right? That's why I said you have no right to say it's about her. After the first cheating, right? If that's your, the line you don't want to, she can't cross, right? And yet you still take her back, that line disappears. There is no more line there. So she can cheat on you or whatever, and you have no right to say shit. I've said it. You cannot expect someone to, follow your standards when you don't do it. Okay? Because you made your standards so weak, it's not even important. Because you allow them to break it. If cheating on you is a standard that they cannot cross, then you have to make it punishable, right? There has to be some consequences. But if you make the consequences disappear, then what's the point, right? What's the point of a line that can't be crossed but has been crossed, but nothing happens from that, right? So in a person's mind, when there's no punishment for the crime, then why would they care about committing the crime? That's the thing, right? So if like stealing, and it's happening in the real world, right? Targets, Walmart, shit like that, it's happening. If people can steal and not be afraid of consequences for said stealing, why would they not steal? For what? It's like sometimes we assume people should be moral. A lot of times, morality is kept in check because of the consequences of not being moral. That's the issue, right? Human beings, sometimes we we are deluded in how we think human beings should be. Okay? We think human beings should automatically not cheat, automatically not steal. A lot of times, right? Human beings are weird like that, where they don't just not do something because, it's morally wrong to do. They do it because they're scared of the consequences. That's just how it is, right? That's what we seem like we don't understand human behavior. Okay, morality is really a lot of times it's based on consequences, right? It is. There's consequences to your actions, i.e., that's why morality, right? What's moral comes into effect.
But now she's doing shady stuff again. How do I get through to her? Let me explain. Our most recent breakup, we were on a date, and after I dropped her off home, there was another guy that pulled up in his car to go somewhere with her. I went no contact, and she eventually reached out pleading for me back. I ignored it all for 40 days. Then I decided to meet her. Turns out the other guy had cheated on her, and was overall a bum.
Why would you see this is saying, right? You want to get through to her. How can you get through to her when there's no punishment for her actions? You always take her back. So in her mind, she can cheat on you, essentially steal, and always get you back, i.e., not going to jail. This is the thing what people don't understand, right? If you take away the consequences, right? In this world, it is sometimes it's just like I said, right? We are so amazed. We're so maybe not amazed, but we're so deluded in thinking human beings are angelic. We're not, right? You can look through the histories of human. You can look through human history, and you can see that human beings in general are very terrible, i.e., very animalistic, right? We do things for our own pleasure, right? We do things that we want to do. Only thing that keeps people in check is consequences. That's what keeps people in check. So if you take away consequences of any kind for any kind of thing, more than, I mean, again, there's some people who would do it just because, okay? But there's a good portion of the population that will do it. If you take away the consequences, people will generally do immoral things. It is just something that I've learned to accept, right? I've learned to destroy the naivety of that, right? Thinking that people are just moral. No, they're moral because of they're scared. Okay, they don't necessarily choose to be moral. They're not necessarily innately moral. It's just that they choose morality because of the fear of the consequences without morality.
Just smoking and drinking. And they just indulge in those habits with each other. Her life became miserable without me. She dropped from numerous classes, would constantly use weed/alcohol, and damaged her relationship with her parents. After we met, I outlined my boundaries: no smoking, no parties, very limited guy friends, but no one-on-one with a guy. I think this is fair for someone who betrayed me deeply. This particular event happened last night. She was at college late, and then a 29-year-old man asked her if she wanted a ride, and I guess something to eat. This is another college student. But this was at 9 p.m. She accepted. They went to the restaurant, and I didn't even know she was with him. I texted her asking how.
And this is the thing, right? She can continuously do things because in her mind, I'm with a man that won't punish me, right? He allowed me to continuously cross his boundaries, and he will always take me back. So you pretty much dictated to her how to treat you.
She was, and she said she was out eating. I asked with who, and she ignored it at first by saying never mind, this place is closing, and then a minute later sent a picture of the closed place and said she's with a guy friend and not to worry, it's just friend related. She said she'd answer any questions and be an open book. I became livid. I could tell by her texting that she was under some influence. I said I'm not doing this again and blocked her. She texted me on Instagram after, asking if I blocked her. I said yes. What are you doing eating with another guy alone at 10 p.m? Yada yada, I blocked her there. She called with a no caller ID and told me she had a beer and they're just celebrating her finishing her essay. But she pleaded and said this will never happen again. I expressed how wrong this was. Funnily enough, she blocked me after and then said she should never have reached out because she's only hurting me. But I apologized for impulsively blocking, she apologized for doing that, and we made up. Mind you, we just got back together 3 days ago. Could anyone provide input?
You made up? She crossed your boundary and you made up. So this is what I'm saying. This is the stupidity, right? This young man is an idiot. He is a doormat. She sees this doormat and she's walking all over it. You made up. She crossed your boundary and you're back together. Or you made up, right? All forgiven, I guess. So, how can you be surprised that in another couple weeks, in another couple months, she's going to hang out alone with another man? Sex or not, right? Because one of your boundaries is don't do it. Don't drink, don't do drugs, and don't hang out with a man. Alone with a man. She does it all. And then you get angry and you're surprised. Why would you be surprised when they have a history of doing it? This is the thing where I said, right? The problem right here with young men, or some men, is just they're not experienced. They're deluded themselves, and most likely probably scared of being alone, scared of not being able to find the next person. So they will suffer because in their mind, I might not find another person, or it's definitely not easy to find another person. So why not just suffer in this relationship, and then instead of just suffering by myself?
In what world does she think it's alright to drink alone with a guy, plus 10 years older than her, at 10 p.m? Especially with her history of infidelity and attention-seeking behavior. Thank you.
What world? The world that you created. This is the thing, the world that you, right, allowed. You allowed all of this to happen. And it's really ridiculous that you expect different results. I live by the quote, right? What is it, the quote? When you constantly doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You constantly forgive your cheating girlfriend. And then you expect her to not cheat. You expect her to not cross your boundaries. When you constantly forgive her for doing it, you think she's just going to change? See, these are small things, right? Essentially, they're not kind of criminal activities, but even criminal activities, if you allow it to happen, it will happen. It will continuously happen because there's no consequences. So imagine something small, right? It's not life-threatening. If you constantly allow her to cheat on you, to cross your boundaries with no consequences, why would she not? Because in her mind is that I can do the things that I want and I'll still get the man that I want. Right? It's like, what do you think is going to happen? Here's the last one, okay?
My wife has been severely grief-stricken for 5 years and refuses to do anything about it. She makes our life hell. A few days ago I wrote about how my wife has been grief-stricken and crying daily for 5 years, all while refusing to do anything about it or get any help. Well, my now soon-to-be ex-wife has completely lost her effing mind. So after my last post I spent a couple of days writing the letter to her. In it I explained that the kids and I love her dearly, and that we're concerned for her. I outlined all the worrying behavior and told her that I believe she needs to seek additional medical care. I explained that it sounded like she had complex grief, and that the grief therapy she went to years ago was insufficient to help her get through it. I did not say anything about potentially divorcing her, but did say that the kids can't continue to live in their current situation. I read the letter to her the same night I finished writing it after the kids had gone to bed. After I finished reading, she just stared right through me for probably 15 minutes, then finally stood up and started walking to the door. I panicked and tried to stop her, asked her where she was going. Can we talk about this? I'm concerned for your safety. She rolled her eyes at me and said in the coldest voice I've ever heard her use, I hope when your parents die someone doesn't tell you to get over it. After that I didn't try to stop her, I just let her go. I was ticked off for maybe 5 minutes before the panic set back in. I legitimately thought she was going to end herself. I checked my phone and she had turned her location off. I called and texted probably 50 times over the next hour, begging her to at least let me know she was okay and that she wasn't going to do something drastic. Right before I was about to call the police, I got a call from her phone. I answered immediately, and before I could get much of anything in, a man's voice told me she's fine but she doesn't want to talk to you, and hung up. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience at the time. I had no idea what the F was going on. I almost called the cops anyway, but I was disassociating hard and talked myself out of it.
This is a lot of things, right? I'm trying to think. Did she say that she was grief-stricken for 5 years? I wasn't sure. I'm gonna play that back a little later at the end. But it is hard, right? I gotta play that back, but I mean, it's understandable for you to be grief-stricken for a parent dying. It's understandable, but again, you have a family yourself. I would think it would have been. It's more productive if you actually talk to your loved ones, right? Your husband, and try at least make him understand. Maybe I need more time, or maybe I need some time, whatever. But it's like to get to the point where he sees that nothing is changing and it's just depression. That is a dangerous thing. So yeah, you should get treatment for it. You should get it looked out for you. It's reality, right? It's a sad reality that as adults, you can't just lazy around. You can't. Your life will just go to shit if you do. It's just not I mean, like the water company, the electric company, your mortgage, all these people, all these other strangers won't care. They don't care what happens in your life. What they do care about is getting their money. That's the sad world we live in, okay? But it's the reality that we live in. And it's the reality that no one can change. Okay? So, as cruel as it is, you're just going to have to suffer through it, okay? And continue on with your life. You can cry, you can be depressed, while continue on with your life. Because at the end of the day, it is sad. I reiterate that, but again, the bill company is not going to be sympathetic to you, okay? You know, your landlord ain't going to be sympathetic to you. And why should they? It's not their parent. You know, it's not their life. And you're just one of plenty, you know, in the cog of this world. So, you know, whether you're depressed or not, the world still spins. Okay? Life still has to go on. Sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, but we have to swallow it. It's just we have to, because you know we just can't ignore life, right? If you are living life, right, you have a family, you have responsibilities, you can't just ignore it. It's just not how life works.
Calling her phone all night, but no one picked up again. After about 2 a.m. it started going straight to voicemail. I barely slept that night. When I woke up the next day, she wasn't home. I took the kids to school. I tried calling my wife's phone more all morning, but still voicemail. I called her office and asked if she was at work, and they told me she had called in sick. I called in sick to work as well and basically just sat on my couch, trying to get a hold of her, while being a nervous wreck. I called my mom as well and asked if she could pick the kids up from school today and watch them overnight. I didn't tell her everything that was going on yet, just that something had come up that was urgent and I needed some help. My wife walked in the door sometime after 4 p.m. I tried to hug her and she shied away from me. I asked her where she had been, no response, just a blank stare. I asked her who had called me from her phone. No response, blank stare. At this point I was frustrated and told her that if she didn't want to explain what was going on, she could get the F out. So she started talking, but it was like I was talking to a text-to-speech AI with her voice. No emotion, totally flat, almost annoyed. She told me that she had gone to her friend John's house. I had no idea who the F John was and asked her to explain further. Over a 2-hour or so conversation where I had to pry details out of her, I got most of the story.
I think it's over, right? When a woman, when she's depressed, has to go to another man for emotional support, whether her husband is supporting her or not, right? The relationship is essentially over. Okay? Whether, I'm not saying that, I'm giving like a broad stroke in it, right? Where whether the husband is right or wrong, if you are in a marriage where your significant other goes to the opposite sex, right, for emotional support, it is over. It is utterly over, because they either can't look towards you for emotional support, or you're not there for them. Either or, right? But that essentially says that it's over.
She was answering like a lawyer, very basic answers, no details or context outside of exactly what I was asking her. Basically, John is a coworker. I've met the dude once or twice at office party type events but never really talked to him. I never saw him hanging out with my wife or showing interest in her. But apparently, over the last year or so, she has been spilling all her feelings about her grief over her mom's death to him.
Sometimes, right, I hear a lot of similar things where, oh, we don't see this, we don't see that, right? A lot of times we don't notice enough. And a lot of things happen behind the scenes, right, that we don't know. So I always think that just don't be naive to anything. Don't be surprised of anything, okay? I think that's better for the long run, where, okay, you thought that, but don't think like that, right? Don't think, oh, I thought they didn't have much of a relationship. Just don't think that way. You know, you might as well don't think about it at all, or think that, you know what, then maybe they do have a stronger relationship than you thought. Rather be proven wrong than, or what is it? No, not proven. I mean, it's better. I mean, rather be proven wrong in the good sense, right, than proven wrong in the bad sense. That's it.
And he's been comforting her. He had a parent die from cancer too, so I guess she felt they had a connection she didn't have with me. After I read her the letter, she says she realized that I don't care about her or her mom's death and went to John's house to talk and be comforted. I flat out asked her if she was having an affair with him, and she told me no. I asked her why she never mentioned she was close friends with this unknown guy, and she told me it was none of my business. I asked her if anything had happened between them while she was there, and she says they cuddled and he helped.
That's the thing. It's your husband. It is his business. This is probably an unpopular opinion, right? When you're in a family, there shouldn't be secrets or essentially privacy, especially between husband and wife. I think that's ridiculous. You share your body with the person, right? You literally have drank fluids, whatever, with this person, and then it's fine for them to hide their phones. It's fine for them to have secrets. What? It's amazing to me, right? How people think that, okay, I want some privacy. I want some alone time. If you wanted that, you should have been alone. What's the point of being in a relationship when you want to be by yourself, when you want privacy? How about get the privacy and alone time alone? It's the thing where, right, where seems like people don't understand. You have to continuously earn someone's trust. Okay? There shouldn't be privacy. Why should there be alone time? I mean, I'm saying, like, yeah, if you want to chill by yourself, whatever. But I'm saying, like, if you're trying to look for alone time, you should have just been by yourself.
I held her while she cried. I asked to see her phone to check messages between them, and she refused. I couldn't get much more detail out of her about the whole situation. So when she went to take a shower, I tried to check her phone. She had changed her passcode. I grabbed her iPad, which still had my thumbprint biometric signature in it, and checked there. I left the house with the iPad to look for evidence while she was in the shower. I did not immediately see any messages to her from a John, but after digging briefly, I found it. She had put him in as Stacy in her contacts, but it was obviously him. There were texts going back well over a year. A lot of her talking about her mom, a lot of him comforting her. A lot of him telling her I don't really care about her, and that he would never treat her that way if they were married. All of her replies were in agreement. A lot of texts from her complaining about me. A lot of him trash-talking me. The night she left, she had texted him "F it, I'm on my way over if the offer is still there," followed by an immediate yes reply. Then the next morning, a text from her to him saying if he asks, "We just talked." I threw up out my car door in a Walmart parking lot for 20 minutes. I came home and found her on the couch on her phone, seemingly unconcerned or unaware I had even left. I told her that I knew, and that she needed to leave. Again, she just stared at me for a while, not responding, until I got aggravated and told her to get the F out of the house. She immediately got up, told me John was right about you, and left. I haven't seen her since. I told the kids she went to visit her parents. I don't know what to tell them, but I have to tell them something soon. I don't really...
Sometimes, like, tell them the truth. Right? It's like, it amazes me how, with people nowadays, right? One moment they treat their kids like adults, the next moment they treat their kids like children. It's like, pick a side, right? Pick a side. Are they children or are they adults, right? Because let's say, it's controversial, but like changing their gender and shit like that, you're treating them like adults. But that's fine. But tell them the truth about their mom isn't.
even know what to do. Ostensibly I need to divorce her, but going through custody, child support, etc. is dizzying. I feel paralyzed and haven't made a move yet. I know she's lost her mind and this is probably some kind of psychotic break, but I just can't care anymore. I put on a brave, numb face to go to work, then for my kids at night, and then cry after they go to bed until I fall asleep. I feel like my life is essentially over.
Let me play this again.
My wife has been severely grief-stricken for 5 years and refuses to...
Yeah. 5 years. 5 years is insane. Right? I mean, like... Again, if something happened to my mom, I would be, like... on the verge. Right? On the verge. But if I have survived... Okay? That depression for 5 years... I'll be done. I'm not done where I'm over it, but done where I gotta move on. If I'm still living life after 5 years, and I have all these other responsibilities, okay? I have I have children, I have a partner. Yeah, I have to wake up. This is incredibly selfish. 5 years. 5 years to be depressed and absolutely a lump of nothing is insane to me. This is the thing where, like, that's why it's the context, right? The husband is not in the wrong at all. It's been 5 effing years. This has not been a year. It's not been 2 years. Hell, it's not been 3 years. It's been 5 years. 5 years. Like, I don't know about for some people, but 5 years, it's not a small amount of time. Okay? And to be, like, to be depressed for that long and really not have done nothing, like get help or try to change something, is ridiculous. And it shows you that you're selfish. It shows you that you choose to wallow in self-pity. Okay? You have children. Like, one thing is like to, ignore your partner, but to not essentially be there for your kids is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. Okay? So, yeah, that's insanity. This is the thing where, this is why, right? I actually, like I said before, where I wanted to, or start this journey to make these content, right? It's because of stories like this. You don't hear men's side. You don't, right? You constantly hear about what women think, right? What women go experiences, the experiences of women, right? Men are terrible. Men are cheaters. Men are abusers. Whatever, right? Men are terrible fathers. Men are terrible husbands. All this stuff. You rarely to never hear the sides of men, the stuff, the suffering, the struggles that men go through. Here's the thing, right? Literally, the wife is cheating on him. She is like neglecting him, okay? Neglecting her kids, neglecting her responsibilities as an adult, as a wife, as a mother. And then selfishly jumping into another man's arms. It's like, this is the thing where a husband can understand your grief, you're struggling, you're depressed for a year, for 2 years, right? He probably took up the hypothetically, it seems like he probably took up the slack for all those 5 years. Fine, but he was at his breaking point, right? So what he do? He's actually sit down and talk to you, try to communicate to you, right? It's not berating you. It's not putting you down. It's not, being unsympathetic towards you. No, he's communicating to you, talking about how your kids feel, how he feels, as the man that you chose to marry, how he feels. This is the thing where the selfishness is unbearable, because through this relationship, you're not alone. This is the difference where if your mom died and you had only yourself. But this is the thing where your mom died and you have kids. You have a partner that you should be thinking about as well. That you should move on for your partner and your kids. Okay? And this is not that thing where, still be depressed. Don't still be grief stricken. No. But channel that energy for your family. And also try to seek therapy, right? Seek help, medicine, or talking to other people. You should have talked to your husband more. I don't know if they did, but it doesn't seem like they did. Or doesn't seem like they did it that much. But this is the thing where, like I said, I like these stories because it's good to just hear the sides that we don't hear, right? We don't hear the sides of men. We don't. And it's nice to actually know that shit is happening, right? Terrible shit is happening to men. Men are struggling. So, yeah. I hope you guys liked it. I think it was cool. I always like to listen to these stories. Like I said, it's a good reality check for me, right? To not just focus on how my life is or how the life of the people around me are and shit like that. To know that the world is bigger than you. The world is bigger than you and the people around you. Okay? So, anyway, hope you guys liked it. It was fun. It was cool. But that's it. Later, guys.